In the modern era, dating rituals have changed slightly from the traditional ways of our elders. In bars, clubs, and college campuses, new types of relationships are forming. Some call these relationships pals with privileges. Some call them cut friends, and others call them extended hookups. Today we will look into the healthiness of these new relationships to determine what type of a cultural change our current society is undergoing, and the effects of friends with benefits. We begin our quest to find truth by asking, what is friends with benefits, and how exactly can it be defined?
Friends with benefits says like, oh, we're friends. We're also doing physical stuff. Is okay, well, what's physical? What does that mean for different ages? I mean, how long does it have to last before it's something else? Like, yeah, it's very hard to define, and I think that's almost part of the appeal, is that you don't have the pressure as a boyfriend or as, you know, someone that's dating or as a husband to you know, give all of yourself to this person.
You know, sometimes, you know, someone's horny and someone else is horny and they meet each other and they get it on. And over time, that develops into a relationship. And hey, I'm at the party. Hey, you're at the party. Hey, we're both horny. And then you do the nasty nasty.
I think that friends with benefits, it always seems like a good idea at first, like when it first starts happening, and then along the way, either someone gets attached or just like the rules aren't clear enough, and so someone usually ends up getting hurt. And it's usually the girl. I'm just gonna put that out there.
Throughout history, society has valued friendship first and intimacy second. But what benefits can be found in intimacy void of friendship?
It's good for people our age to date around and to see what you like and see what kind of girl you like before you get married. Like, dating is a way to like screen who you like want to marry. I mean, ultimately, that's kind of the way I think of it.
Well, I think it depends on the people, and if they're all into it, I don't see any harm to it. I mean, a lot of people don't want the attachment or complexity of a relationship, but they also don't want to sleep with strangers. So I think if a girl has a guy who she's friendly with but is also attracted and vice versa, and they're all into it, there's certainly no harm to it, I don't think.
I know people who have started as friends with benefits and are now like getting married. Kind of weird.
While friends with benefits relationships seem to have several upsides initially, what are the long-term effects?
I don't think that it's a good idea. I think that usually one person kind of wants more out of it than the other person, or ultimately wants to be in a relationship and hopes that that'll kind of be a means to get to the relationship. And I think that usually it ends with one person like finding someone else or becoming bored with it, unless there's like two people who really just want sex or whatever. But that just, I don't know, that seems,
I mean, you find that.
Yeah, I guess you find that, but in most instances you don't.
Friends with benefits is like good short term. It's a very like short term kind of thing, you know. Friends with benefits is like, am I getting some tonight or am I not, you know? Like, so in that sense, it's like, oh yeah, might as well. You can't build a relationship on friends with benefits, you know, because eventually someone's gonna want something more.
Girls tend to get attached sometimes to guys, and guys tend to get attached to girls. And it seems like sometimes that you want to get attached to somebody, they don't really necessarily feel the same way, and vice versa.
I wouldn't really say it's a good thing, because someone will end up getting hurt, or in the long run it has some type of effect on you that isn't really positive.
Am I willing to throw away this relationship for some really good sex? And a lot of the times that answer is no. But when, you know, drugs and alcohol come into the mix, it might sway things one way or another.
While friends with benefits type relationships are certainly a product of modern society, what would older generations have to say about this new type of intimacy?
Well, on the one hand, you know, you're having your sexual kicks, and there's nothing that you have to argue about later. Although you're taking a chance that there could be AIDS or chlamydia. stuff like that, you know. And once you get that kind of stuff, you're finished. I once had we had a friend, my wife and I, who was a physician, and he said he would never marry a woman that he hadn't had a sexual relationship with for some time. They would not be married and stuff. And boy, everybody was, whoa, how about that? I mean, that was really something, you know. And nowadays, it's really nothing. I think in Europe they say it's really nothing. They laugh when they see how puritanical we are, right?
While we have explored several pros and cons of these types of relationships, it is clear that having a friend with benefits is certainly a confusing issue to solve in one's life. What advice can be offered to future generations in order to make these personal relationships a little bit easier to understand?
I mean, I know we sat down and just kind of just said, hey, this is where we're at. I don't know, that worked for us, but it's just, you know, I don't know. Again, it's a very up in the air subject.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if people define it as the same thing and agree that this is what it is, then maybe they have a better chance of working as friends with benefits and being friends afterwards.
Yeah, I have a personal experience, kind of a don't do this. I was with this beautiful girl in high school, and she gave me the DTR talk, like the define the relationship. What is this? Because we kind of were friends with benefits. And I made the mistake of actually like telling the truth and say, I was like, I like you, and I guess you like me, but I don't really want to be in a relationship with you. And your parents are kind of crazy, and I'd rather just kind of do all this stuff that we've been doing without really any sort of commitment. And then she ended things with me the next day. So don't tell the truth, whatever you do.
It's not something you're just supposed to like do and just like whatever about it. It's something special. And the more you do it, the more it's so casual. The more you do it casually, the less special it is. And then it's just like whatever, you know? And it shouldn't be like that.
Throughout history, like sex has been kind of like just weird, you know, whether it was like raping slaves or like having like a concubine of 4-year-old boys, you know, like sex has just always been a little bit weird. And I think right now, like our culture is kind of forward thinking, maybe like too accepting and progressive and all this stuff. But I think there's a lot of freedom and a lot of tolerance.
I don't know what the next step is, God. You already got nudity on TV, complete frontal nudity. You got movies with it like that. What else can it go to?
I think the media influences a lot too about how we view relationships and kind of what's okay and what's normal. And people think it's just normal, and a lot of people do it now, probably.
I think it's existed for a very long time. I mean, having, you know, unemotional, casual sex is and always will be a facet of life. It happens.
I mean, I'll say this, I think it's clearly a younger person's game, because by the time a girl hits her mid-20s, she's looking for a husband with benefits, and the benefits is a bank account, a nice house, and a nice car.
Maybe our generation is kind of being force-fed a lot of sex, you know, and not only in our media, but in our entertainment and in our, you know, just in our conversations as human beings, you know, and I think there's you know, we do kind of seek a little bit more scandalous behavior, I think, than previous generations.
While sharing intimacy without commitment may be tempting, evidence shows that these relationships are not as easy as they seem. As we continue to evolve, we as a society should try to understand the ways relationships work before jumping into things which might hurt us later in life. However, every once in a while, everyone needs a little bootay.